Hello everyone and welcome again to another walkthrough journal video from Claudia from We're Just Two Sisters. This is the second video in the series of African American journals that is called Inspire. This is just a lovely piece of work and I'm extremely proud of it. I'm going to take you all the way through it and show you all the wonderfulness that it has to offer. This journal is approximately 102 pages and it has one signature. It's 7.5 by 9.5. Oops, 7.5 by 9.5. And it's made from a lot of vintage materials. It has, again, I think I said 102 pages and over 70 embellishments. It has this beautiful tassel here that I made that's clipped on with this little bulb clip. And it is made from an old vintage book, so it's a hardcover book using art paper, embossed paper, vintage coffee dyed paper, vintage photographs and frames, and a lot of different vintage lace, antique buttons, and on the back, as you can see, this comes all the way around. It's held together with this lovely ribbon. The ribbon is attached all the way around underneath, so it's not going anywhere. And the antique buttons are actually go all the way through the cover, so they're not going to come loose. We'll untie this ribbon, and again, this ribbon has a lot of space, so if you wanted to add even more depth to this journal, you have a lot of room here for tying. So let's take a look inside. As I mentioned, the buttons on this one are sewn all the way through. There's holes punched here. The buttons are sewn through and attached to this other button here. So they're not, again, not going anywhere. The signature is sewn in and it's very sturdy and very secure. I've used a lot of vintage cloth as well as sewn in different textures and types of paper just to again add that wonderful element of texture and variety. Here's an example of my coffee dyed paper, and I've also, as you can see, put some stenciling on this one. Hopefully you can see that well in the light. There's old vintage rickrack and lace. Here's the first pocket page. Let's kind of walk through it. I'm going to lay these things out as we go, again, to give you an idea of the number of embellishments and tags and so forth that are included in this journal. So this lovely pocket has one thing that comes out, and it's a little card. The card is hard cardboard. It says wish on it. Has this lovely little girl in the flowers, and on a lot of these I've left a lot of writing room to give you that extra space to actually do some journaling. So I'll lay these out as we go. This it could hold quite a bit more. It could even hold like a little tablet or even a vintage hanky could go in there. It says a sweet story taken from the past. And this is a lovely little corner pocket of specimen handwriting that's embellished with a little bit of bling. In there is an old ticket as well as a bill of fare for an old Victorian restaurant. If I put those in somewhat of an order up there, I will kind of remember where I had them. Here's some vintage lace. These are all the pages in here you're going to find are either art paper or they're vintage books. This is an old Victorian book that yes, I'll say it. I've said it before, but I cut it up. This is some of my coffee dyed paper, which I've done a little stenciling on it just to give it an element of texture. Here's another pocket page. This pocket page has this lovely lady with the lace and the charm or earring. It says, "Life isn't perfect, but your outfit can be." I just thought her outfit was quite amazing. And on the back of this is just a fun finished card with a mushroom and butterfly and an old vintage magazine page. This also has an old receipt. And these embellishments here don't come off, but there's a, if you can see that, it's two really beautiful bluebirds. Obstacles are what you see when you take your eyes off your goals. That's certainly something I like to remind myself of. And this is a page that has a very old piece of sheet music and what's called a cluster. This is a cluster of different types of materials that are sewn together and then attached to the page. It says whimsy on there. And a very old dictionary page. And although these pages are very old, I try to choose the ones that have still strength and integrity, so you don't have to worry about them tearing. Although I will say that some things are pretty fragile, some of the pages that are very old, so you do have to use just an element of care, when turning them, and to be careful not to tear them. Here's a blank page. There's a lot of blank pages in this journal for writing or for creating your own elements and creating your own style within the journal. Some of this you'll see still has writing from the page, and I purposefully choose not to cover that up. You may want to, something scalloped here could be glued on top of that. Yet another ribbon or something could be attached here. And I've done some stenciling, as I said, in this one. You'll see lots of fun little different types of paper. This one actually has little bunnies on it. Here's an example of, a map piece that I just cut off, scalloped the edge, and glued over a seam that I had sewn. So if you wanted to do something like that here, you could certainly do that. This is a very beautiful pocket made out of some embossed paper. It contains several little embellishments. There's this adorable little tag that has this purple butterfly, very vintage looking. It has this little tag that just says little things, lots of space for journaling, and an old memorandum of call. I don't know if any of you remember that, but back in the day when there was actually a receptionist and they used to answer the phone and take a message, they would write it on a piece of paper like this and then put it in your inbox, so that when you came in from being on break or being at lunch, you would have all these little messages there. Here's a bright and cheerful page that's very white. A lot of people like a lot of white space. So this says story about me, and it's a place where you could just write a whole 2-page spread, or you could put photographs or glue on memorabilia, anything that you wish to do. And speaking of wish, this is a page where you could journal about what is it that you wish for. What have you wished for that's actually come true? I know lots of things I've wished and prayed for have come true. Again, an example of my own coffee and stencil dyed papers. It has a great texture to it. It's crinkly, but it's very sturdy and very strong. This is a lovely page. I really liked how this page came out, and it's using old book pages. It has a 3-tiered pocket with a belly band. This band has another receipt. It has this little tag that was a concert ticket to Jenny Lind. I don't know if you remember Jenny Lind or have seen the movie The Greatest Showman. She's a part of that cast of characters. And then this has, several old elements that can just slip right down into these pockets. This is just an old piece of newspaper print, and I've folded it and inked the edges to make it look even more vintage. So all of those things can easily go in here. And, one thing I want to mention, I know I mention this in almost all my videos, but I take these things out so that you can have an idea of what this is like in terms of number of different embellishments. And they don't always go back in the same place where I took them out. I try to kind of put them in order, but that doesn't always work out for me. But the beauty of that is that you can basically put them back wherever you want to put them. It doesn't have to be in the same place. I mean, you could take something that we looked at before and easily, put that down into a different pocket here. I made that sound easy, and I know it is, but that one might be just a tiny bit thick for that, but you get the idea. Some of these pockets, especially if they're on a hard paper, you may want to consider using a thinner one. Not a great example, but you get the idea. So let's move on. This is a lovely little pocket with ABCs and on it, and has 2 tags in it. It has this repair tag and a layaway tag. Remember the days of layaway? My mom used to put like stuff on layaway at Montgomery Ward's and J.C. Penney's, and you know, I don't know if you remember White Front and Kmart and all those places. Well, they had layaway plans. I think they may still do. But then she would take her little ticket and go fetch the things that she had purchased for us. So this has a card or a page here that is on a French dictionary, and it has like this beautiful, beautiful handwriting. I'll bring that up just a little bit so you can see how pretty that is. And a little bit of stenciling here just to kind of, again, age it just a little bit more. I was fortunate enough to find this book at the thrift store that is like really old. It's from the early 1900s, some even from the 1800s. This one's dated 1882. That has samples of people's handwriting. And yeah, I cut it up. But it's so awesome to use that handwriting in these journals. Here's just a page that says truth. And of course, you could create a story here that goes along with that theme. More stenciling on this page. Here's a paper doily that is embellished with an old index of a hymnal book. And if you turn this page, you can see that I've kind of embossed or stenciled that doily a little bit. It was, to be honest, it started off by accident, and I thought, oh no, that's going through. But then when I looked at it, I'm like, oh yay, that went through. So it actually worked out well. This has this cute little story about the goose with the funny feet, covered by this little side pocket of flowers, and then this gorgeous little butterfly. I'm going to leave him in there because that's really the place that he goes. That sits right down in that pocket. Here's an example of some very vintage lace that and doilies that's sewn onto the pages. Here is a page with the Lord's Prayer, one of my most favorite prayers. And this came out of a very old hymnal book. And I'd been looking for the longest time to find just the right place for it. And I just really felt that it belonged in this journal. And this is a pocket that has a belly band here. It doesn't have anything in it right now, but as you can see, you could put all kinds of things in there. There's that one that we struggled with before. That one will definitely fit right down in there. Unfortunately, it kind of covers up the lady. But I love this picture. I love her hair, and I think she does too. This is called a photo pocket. I have several of those on my Etsy shop as well. I sell the photo pockets separately. They're made on embossed paper with an old photograph that's sewn on, usually some type of element of lace or ribbon, and they fit right down into these photo pockets. And again, this one has an extra space for something different. You could put a receipt in there. You could put all kinds of different things in there. Sure you'll find something that you love. Here's more coffee dyed paper, more music paper. This is from Porgy and Bess. A Woman is a Sometime Thing. I'm not sure I like that, but I don't know the song, to be honest with you, but I do know the musical. I do like that musical. Again, more journaling paper that has some stenciling on it. An example of a blank page that you could make your own pocket, glue your own photographs, do whatever you like. Another page that I've purposefully left kind of blank for you to do your own thing. Here's a lovely page again with some really old sheet music. I chose to stray to a garden of flowers, and I added these little three-dimensional elements here, the lady, and a couple of little old stickers. Here's a pocket that has a surprise when you start to take the things out. Has this great little wooden butterfly here. It's glued on. It does not have a top pocket. but it does hold quite a few things. And when you take this off, there's this wonderful little ostrich guy in there that I thought was just adorable. Here's an Uno card. I don't know if you guys have ever played Uno, but I still play it on my iPad anyway. And here's a little tag with some journaling space on the back. Been taking those out, right? Yeah. So, and this is some really beautiful ribbon that has some writing on it. This is a really interesting page. What I decided to do here was that this whole ensemble of things could tell a story all by itself. So this, I've created a fold out that you can actually write a lot on, has a lot of room to write. It easily just kind of folds up like that. This has a pocket with another one of those little memorandums of call, a note that somebody called you. It has this beautiful little lace side pocket. And then when you take this out, here is a piece of sheet music, a shadow waltz that is very old. You have to kind of be careful with this one of folding it too much because the paper is a little bit old. The paper can have a tendency to fray. I'm going to leave that in there because I don't want to just have it laying around. And then this, I just thought came out beautifully. This is yet again a journal in a journal. And this has these really pretty silver corners on both sides. And when you open it up, it has a pocket on the front here. This pocket has a birthday wishes card, which is a little postcard. And it goes in this little pocket. I'm going to leave it in there. And then this is a tablet here that is actually, as you can see, sewn in. It's sewn in all along the spine, so it's not going anywhere. And then on the back, it also has another little band, and that band has an embossed postcard. But again, you can add, whatever elements that you would like to these. And then this is the back of this little portfolio or tablet or mini journal, whatever you want to call it. And then this just fits down into this pocket. Because this is the only place in this journal that one will actually fit, I'm going to leave it in there. Another music page, more different textures and elements and patterns with different types of ribbon and lace. This is an old headline from a Los Angeles Times newspaper. I believe it's dated 1899. And this band I thought came out really interesting. So this is a band that holds these elements. This is what the band looks like. It has space here and then it has space here. So this is a piece of that newspaper of the LA Times. And if you open it up, you can see that it's very old and very full of information, all kinds of interesting articles about Atlantic Steamship Agency, maps. This one is about 1889, June 16th, 1889, the Front Golden Eagle Clothing Company. Just a lot of really interesting things. And this easily slides right down into this band. And then this is the periodic table of elements, a place where you could write on the back. And I chose that to just kind of set this off and finish that page up. Again, you can decide to put anything you want into these pockets. Here's a large pocket, would hold quite a few things. I leave a little bit of space here, so there you can fit a lot of stuff in there. I've added 2 of my cards that I make, the postcards that I make with vintage paper and embossing, and then stamps that I have in a book of old postage stamps. And this is an on your birthday, wishing you a day as lovely as you are. And I write on these, so people say that I have like very old-fashioned looking handwriting, so I kind of use that to my advantage and write a little story on the ones that I make. So these can go down in here, again with a lot of other things if you chose. This is the center of the signature, which means we are 50% through. I apologize for this video being so long. I'm trying to talk fast, but there's a lot to look at. So here's another pocket. This is a pocket with sewn on the top, so it has a pocket here and a pocket here. It has this adorable little songbook, Raining Violets, Raining Violets. And it's just a little book. And this is a tag that has this adorable picture of this lady riding in this carriage, or a cart, if you will, that's drawn with an ostrich. I just thought that was so different and interesting, because it isn't. Very fun and whimsical. It also has this little size 2 1/2 tag that can go in here. And again, if you arrange these differently, you can see the picture just fine. Or you may decide to put something else in there, as I said before. I'm going to take these cards out and lay them over here. So again, a blank page that just says explore. And this is yet an opportunity for you to explore your own creativity and either write a story or add some different elements here. A side pocket, a corner pocket that has this little guy in it. It's a little cat clip. Inside there's a belly band here for that. And then if you open this up, it's actually a little tablet with some string attached. And the tablet has very old classified ads from that Literary Digest magazine. And then it has this vintage paper that gives you yet more spaces to journal and write. This can go right in here. You might find some little strings in here, although I try my best to go through these pieces several times before I do my video. Inevitably, I will find like little pieces of string or a little piece of paper that I missed. So that's all in, the process of making. Here's a really interesting page that has these brackets, if you will, on it. It happened. You could definitely write a story here about an adventure or an experience that you had that you wanted to document in your journal. More vintage coffee dyed paper with some stencils, bistro, and maybe a little story about a wonderful luncheon that you had, or a trip to Paris. And thinking of Paris, maybe you had some incredible wine there. So again, lots of places for journaling, lots of places for making this again your own, writing your own story, creating your own masterpiece. This is one of my favorite pieces in this journal. This is an envelope, and as you can see here, here's the flap of the envelope. It is attached to the page. When you turn it over, the envelope back has a place for tags. 2 little tags here, just one that's very whimsical and vintage looking, and then this little girl, a place for journaling. Again, this is one of those little cards that I had that I liked so much, and I attached some musical notes to it. And then when you open it up this way, it has yet another envelope that opens. And this envelope, I'll show you that one more time, opens this way. It has some more music here. Far from the city of the city, where flowers all of your dreams come true. And then you open this little envelope, and it has a little receipt in here. Again, these can contain anything that you'd like for them to contain. And then this has an extra pocket where you could put things in as well. This just folds back up. And again, as you can see, it's attached with the flap. I'm gonna move on here to another music page. It says sing. Let's call the whole thing off. This is actually another George Gershwin old piece of vintage music from the picture Shall We Dance? This is a really pretty pocket. I like how this came out with this kind of 3-dimensional butterfly. This contains 2 tags. It has, this one says the most noble. And this one says, it has just this picture of this lady. She reminds me very much of a teacher I had in the 5th grade who I just absolutely adored. I think I was really drawn to that picture because of that. basket of books on the back, things for boys and girls to make. And this one has a lot of vintage ads. So again, I'm going to set these aside. This has some great embellishments here with some little pearls and a number 79. More of that paper lace or paper doilies, the French dictionary, stencil pages. This is a very crisp and white page that I decided to leave that way. Again, you know, a lot of people like a lot of white space, and for some people it bothers them, but I like to try to appeal to what everybody likes. And this has some really beautiful trim here. And then this page is a corner pocket that has this old vintage postcard, greetings from Watermet, Michigan, and a Pacific Company original check ticket, like when you checked your hat or your coat at the door. More coffee dyed, stencil dyed paper, cafe. Here's a 3-layer pocket. 1, 2, 3 layers, and it contains a library book insert, a game card from the game Password. Here's another game card. It's actually all filled in. You know, people actually used these. And it's amazing. Sometimes you can find these old games at the thrift stores, and they have the original scorecards in them that have the people's writing in them. I like it when it's like that. More coffee dyed paper. More paper to create your own space. Here's a corner pocket on the top of this one. And this has these 2 cards. This one is embossed with this lace. That's really beautiful. And there's some writing on the back of it. And this one is, I see friends shaking hands. How do you do? They're really saying, I love you. You know that song. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I'll take those out. Maps, coffee dyed paper, and then this is a lovely page that has this pocket. This is actually glued on, but this pocket contains some old pages here, some raffle tickets, 2 tags. Set those aside. And then this really interesting element that I put this ribbon inside this little fold and attached that with a little clasp. Can't really see that. You can see it here, but it's not real visible. And you could also actually open this up and attach something else to it if you wish to do so. And then this is one of those little ladders with a tag in it. Each one of these, I'll show you, has a place where you can actually add additional things. These are open on the back, so you can slip things down into these little crevices. And this is a piece of really cool material. Nurture souls, share the love. Hearts nurture soul, blessing, kindness, whimsy, merriment, and joy. I thought that was just really pretty there. And then here's the very last page. And this page has a pocket that contains, it says, follow not me, but you. Good advice, I think. And I made this little recipe card, but it's a recipe for a happy home, for a lifetime of love. And the ingredients are things like love and caring, hugs and kisses, expression, teamwork, warmth, affection, honesty, patience. And the directions are for each other with all, love each other with all your heart, be kind, caring, and forgiving with all things. Always kiss each other goodnight. And it says from Auntie Helen. I actually had an Auntie Helen, and although she didn't say this, it's something she would have said. So I really enjoyed putting that together. And so this is the back page, and we are finished. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over again so that you can see the front, the side, the back. And you can see that now that we have all of the things out, it's not near as fat. But I've left plenty of space here on the ribbon so that when you get all the things added back in, you can definitely have enough ribbon to close it. And I'll just zoom out here and show you once again just an idea of the number of embellishments in this journal. There you go. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this. It was a whole 29 minutes long, one of my longest videos I've ever done. So I appreciate your patience and hanging in there. And I hope that you love this journal as much as I loved making it. If you'd like to see other pictures, or if you'd like to purchase this journal, it's available on our Etsy shop, and that is We're Just Two Sisters with the number 2, www.we'rejusttwosisters.etsy.com. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.